Welcome to the Seattle Bird Podcast. I'm your host, Leo. This episode, our bird spotlight is on the Downy Woodpecker. Downy woodpeckers are the smallest woodpeckers in North America, about 6 inches tall. Their bellies are white and their backs are black with white spots. Their heads are horizontally striped. Males have a little red patch on the back of their head. According to Mass Audubon, woodpeckers have zygodactyl feet, 2 toes forward, 2 behind, rather than the usual 3 forward, 1 behind arrangement of other birds. This helps them cling to trees. Downy woodpeckers are common all year round in Seattle and much of North America, and once you start looking and listening for them, you'll find quite a lot of them. According to All About Birds, quote, woodpeckers don't sing songs, but they drum loudly against pieces of wood or metal to achieve the same effect. People sometimes think this drumming is part of the bird's feeding habits, but it isn't. In fact, feeding birds make surprisingly little noise, even when they're digging vigorously into wood. End quote. Similar to songs, the drumming is often used to attract mates and intimidate competitors. According to All About Birds, quote, male and female downy woodpeckers divide up where they look for food in winter. Males feed on more small branches and weed stems, and females feed on larger branches and trunks, end quote. Downy woodpeckers are native predators of the European corn borer. That's a moth that is considered a pest because it especially damages corn crops. It's native to Europe, but was introduced in the United States sometime around 1917. It cost the U.S. agriculture industry over $1 billion a year. Downy woodpeckers are members of the genus Dryobates. This moniker comes from the Greek terms for woodland and walker. Downy woodpeckers have coloring and pattern that is very similar to a hairy woodpecker, though downies are much more common. The 2 best ways to tell them apart. Hairy woodpeckers are 50% taller, and their bill is nearly as long as their head. Downies have bills about a third the size of their head. Hairy woodpeckers are related, but not all that closely. They aren't even in the same genus. Hairy woodpeckers are in Leuconotopicus, a nearby genus. According to All About Birds, the 2 species diverged 6.5 million years ago. Since then, the smaller downy woodpeckers evolved to look more like hairy woodpeckers. Audubon lays out 2 theories on why the smaller bird may benefit from being mistaken for the larger one with the bigger bill. The first theory, from a 2012 study by Richard Prum and Larry Samuelson, is that downies better compete for food with hairies if they are perceived as being from their species. But a new theory in 2018 by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology researchers that examined feeder watch data showed that it may be more likely that the mistaken identity benefits downies more in fighting off other non-woodpecker species of similar size. Cornell's Elliot Miller has studied 5 other examples of woodpeckers engaging in this evolutionary phenomenon called plumage mimicry. The bird calls were all recorded by Jeffrey A. Keller and were available courtesy of the Macaulay Library at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Research is by me and Brian. Our sources for this episode are All About Birds, Wikipedia, National Audubon, the Cornell Lab, and Mass Audubon. The audio editing is by me. The theme song is by Felix. I'm your host, Leo. Until next time.